Start with Sam was involved. Sam was a co-founder, but Elon was a co-founder. So just for full credit and context, Elon was the original funder of OpenAI. Excuse me, the original donor, and he was sort of the central founder. And he and Sam worked together, but like Elon was definitely either the founder, and was certainly a magnet for the early talent, and as well as the funder. So Elon has been involved there from the beginning. Yeah, so look, I'm happy to go through the details on that. The umbrella thing that I think has been happening is the social media went on this arc that I've described from like 2013 to today, where it became a censorship machine. AI has gone on a hyper accelerated version of that arc. It happened basically right up front. It took time for social media to become a censorship machine. It happened on AI right from the beginning. It happened on AI right from the beginning because the AI companies learned from the experience of the social media companies, and they just said, well, if we're going to end up building a censorship machine over a decade, we might as well just do it up front.
Mark, are you saying it's intentional, or it's just learning off of information? Yeah, please go on.
It's 100% intentional. Yeah. So that's how you get Black George Washington at Google, is because there's an override in the system that basically says everybody has to be, like, literally everybody has to be Black. Boom. Right. Like there's squads, there are large sets of people in these companies that determine these policies and write them down and encode them into these systems. Like, so overwhelmingly what people experience is intentional. Like there's just no question about that. And they have these groups with this very Orwellian name called trust and safety. Right. Right. Mistrust and no safety, that do this. And a lot of these companies, it's common to have as many people on the trust and safety side sort of deciding on all these policies as it is to have engineers building these systems. And then actually what happens, right, is you're an AI company and you need to build this kind of machine, this kind of censorship machine. And so you go hire the people out of social media who built the machine at social media. And so it's literally, in a lot of cases, it's actually the same people doing it in AI. And so these companies were born woke. They were born woke. They were born as censorship machines. They exhibit all of that behavior. And the big companies, they're doing it for the same reason the social media companies did. They're doing it because either they've already gotten pressure or they know they're going to get pressure. And so you might as well just do it. Most of the people who work at these companies agree with that side of things, and so they think that they need it. I was in a discussion with a professor who is at one of the big companies, and I was like, it's crazy to have this. These AIs give you these patronizing moral lectures all the time when you ask questions. And this professor said, well, my undergrads actually really like that. Like that's how they expect technology to work, right? And I'm like screaming inside my own head, like what the hell, right? So like it's the same thing. It's like baked into the culture, right? And these are a lot of these people are newly arrived from these universities. They're fully indoctrinated, and so they're very sheltered, isolated people, right? They're kind of people who spend all their time in a computer lab, so they haven't had a reason to think this stuff out more broadly. So it's the same thing. My concern, and this goes back to the censorship and political control of AI, is like 1,000 times more dangerous than censorship and political control of social media, maybe 1,000,000 times more dangerous. Social media censorship and political control is very dangerous, but at least it's only like people talking to each other and communicating. The thing with AI is I think AI is going to be the control layer for everything in the future, right? So I think AI is going to be the control layer for how the healthcare system works. I think it's going to be the control layer for how the education system works. It's going to be the control layer for how the government works, right? And so in the future, when you deal with a healthcare system or with the education system or with the government, you're going to be dealing with an AI. And so if that AI is, call it what you want, woke, biased, censored, politically controlled, like you are in like a hyper Orwellian, China style social credit system nightmare. Right, absolute nightmare. And this goes directly to Elon's argument, which is at the core of this, what you have to do is you have to train the AI to lie. And it's just like if you wanted to create the ultimate dystopian world, you'd have a world where everything is controlled by an AI that's been programmed to lie. Like it's hard to imagine things getting worse than that. And the precondition, this hasn't rolled all the way out yet because AI is still new and it's not in charge of, it's not being put in control of everything. But like this is where things are headed. And so it's like I think vitally important that this not happen. My hope is that the culture changes, the case studies, and all the stuff we already just talked about, but all the stuff that this new administration might do. My hope is that this all gets kind of peeled back and thrown out into the sunlight, and people writ large come to really understand this, and people don't stand for it, and this doesn't happen. But like this has to be fought. Like this will happen by default unless people fight it.
Are the incumbents pushing